Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I just would like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And some people I thank who've inspired me. I hope they can inspire you as well. And I will have links below this video to their sites. Say Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Laser Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Lon Anavar, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rabbi Daniel Asser, Nisan Baruch Black, Rabbi Michael Skobach, Jews for Judaism, Rabbi David Ashir, Rabbi Ron Ruvain, and Rabbi Yosef Chesney. So if you've never checked out the channel before, I will have a link below to my first video, which explains what M.L.M for the soul means, what it stands for, and what I'm doing. So this is for the upcoming Parashat Emor, and this is again taken from Tiferes Yosef, or Rabbi Yosef Chesney, and I call this worth more than anything else. So, Rabbi Elyashiv was engrossed in his favorite activity, learning Torah. His daughter was deathly ill. He was concerned about her, but this did not deter him from learning. Then he was given the terrible news his daughter had passed away. As an avel, which means as someone who's mourning, he was not able to continue learning his regular schedule. He closed his Gemara, went to the shelf, and pulled out a different Gemara. This discovered Hilchos Avelos, which is the laws of being a mourner, and he began to learn instead. His daughter's death pained him deeply, yet he knew that he was doing something that was more important, and that supersedes all else. His appreciation for Torah was so great. And we should say, well, Elyashiv Zatzal. Continuing on. So the Torah instructs that if the Kohen Gadol experiences the loss of a close relative, he shouldn't leave the Mishkan to mourn. He should remain at his post doing the avodah. What is the significance of this? So the Rashbam in Shmini Yud Gimel says that it is to demonstrate that serving Hashem is more important than anything else. We all have priorities. It is important to remember that serving Hashem is more valuable than anything else. We all want to have good children. What can we do to help ensure that they will follow the right path? So the Chazon Ish writes, the most important concept that we must indoctrinate our children with is a realization that our portion in life as Ovdei Hashem is worth more than anything else. Once children are imbued with this mindset, they will inevitably follow the right path. So the parsha starts off with Hashem telling Moshe to instruct the Kohanim to preserve their holy status by not defiling themselves. The pasuk seems redundant as it says, you should say to the Kohanim, the children of Aharon, you should say to them. Rashi explains that the extra saying is instructions for the adults to deliver this message to the younger generations as well. Why is it that specifically over here the Torah instructs us to be mechanech, which means is to teach? Chinuch is giving instruction or learning to the next generation. So Rav Chaim Dov Keller in Sefer Chidakel explains that the Torah is stressing that chinuch is not merely to ensure that our children don't commit grave sins. It is to imbue our children with the awareness of how prestigious their status is, that they shouldn't defile it. We have to demonstrate to them how valuable it is to be a Yid, which means a Jew, and that we must act accordingly. So perhaps this itself can be an alternative explanation of the pasuk. You should say to the Kohanim Bnei Aaron, you come from illustrious lineage, you are the children of Aharon. Once they have an appreciation for their lofty status, you can tell them this next statement, don't defile yourself. First, we have to imbue our children with an appreciation of being a Yid. Then only then can they be told what they are obligated to do to preserve their lofty status. So meaning first you have to make sure that they appreciate, the idea of who they are, and then once they know that, what their obligations are. That makes sense. So how can we properly influence our children? Do as I say, not as I do doesn't work. As Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky so powerfully said, one who instructs his children to learn Torah can be sure that his children will follow his ways. They will instruct their children to learn as well. However, if one actually learns Torah, it is likely that his children will learn Torah as well, meaning they learn by example. So Rav Moshe Feinstein says that for our actions to be perpetuated by the next generation, it is not enough for us to do. We must demonstrate that it excites us, so meaning that it's still enjoyable after so many thousands of years, everyone's doing it, so you don't lose the interest. So Rav Moshe deduces this from the aforementioned Rashi. The pasuk is redundant in instructing Moshe to say to the Kohanim. How can we say that it is instructing the Kohanim to say to their children? The answer is, the way to effectively instruct our children is not with words. It's by demonstrating excitement in keeping the mitzvot. Moshe said two statements to the Kohanim. One was their obligation to keep this mitzvah. The second was instructions to do it with excitement so that the next generation will be equal to follow in their ways. So the Panavizer Rav was one of the greatest builders of Torah in the past 100 years. Of course, to create and sustain so many Torah institutions takes a lot of money. Thus, the Panavizar Rav would travel the world to raise funds. One place he would visit regularly was London. He would stay by the home of Rav Yaakov Levinson. Rav Yaakov would take him around to visit wealthy individuals to solicit funds. One day they paid a visit to a businessman. They arrived in the office at 3:15 for their appointment and were told by the secretary, "I'm sorry to keep such prominent guests such as you waiting, but the boss is in the middle of an important phone call." A few minutes later, the rich man came to the waiting room and personally apologized. "I am in the middle of an important call. I apologize, but I need a few more minutes." No one likes to wait, but they were hoping for a big donation that would make their time worthwhile. Finally, after 20 minutes of waiting, the Rav turned to his host and declared, "It's time to go." Levinson was perturbed. He recognized that, Rav Levinson was perturbed. He recognized that they were foregoing a large donation, yet he did not question the Rav's instructions. Upon returning home, the Panavizar Rav finally explained his motive. "Last time you mentioned that you had a chavrusa, which means someone to learn with, at 3:45. No donation in the world is big enough to warrant missing out on your Seder." He knew the value of a large donation, but he recognized that the value of Torah is even greater. The Yom Tov of Shavuos is fast approaching. The Gemara says that on Shavuos we have an obligation to indulge in a good meal. There are many explanations as to why this is so, but the most basic is what Rashi says. It is to demonstrate that we are excited to receive the Torah. It's our way of expressing how important Torah is for us. Let us be cognizant how valuable it is to be a Yid and to learn Torah. It is more precious than anything else in the world. By demonstrating excitement for avodas Hashem, which means serving Hashem, we can ensure that our children will follow in our way. So that's worth more than anything else, like the title says. So that's what we have to do, is make them not only know and appreciate who they are, but make it exciting for them. Like I said, there's still an excitement for you, and once they see that you're excited about it, they'll want to also do it well. And I hope and pray that we'll all merit to live and see the coming Mashiach speedily in our days and rebuilding our final everlasting Beit HaMikdash. Amen, and thanks for watching.